What's going on, guys?
Mornings, or good afternoon. I'm sure it's morning somewhere around the world.
Oh yeah, yeah. Z, we're we're live now. I'm stoked to be introducing you guys to each other. Knights and Peasants has been doing some really cool things on Harmony. About to do some really cool things on Polygon, and it feels just like a perfect fit and conversation for you guys to have, just to show them the product and hear it from the horse's mouth himself.
That's the plan, right? And then it's always good to have more people on this long Web3 journey, especially when the weather gets a little cooler. We're in the winter, so let's cuddle up together, right, to stay warm and safe.
That's right. That's right, man. No, for real. So I think Shan
I'm just getting my
is going to be
screen
back
share
in
set
one
up
second.
and sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
Loud
I'm
and
just getting my
clear.
screen share set up and people into the voice chat. No, be a sec.
By the way, Matt does a very moody picture, man. Nice hair.
All right, Shan, we're live. So whenever you're ready, we take your time.
Yep.
Let's get it right so everybody in Knights and Peasants can see. And then, what do you think? Should we start with the product demo then? Or do you want to do some questions first? Or how do you feel about it, Shan?
I think maybe we start with the questions first and then go into the product demo.
Perfect.
I think let's just get some more people in.
While we're idling for waiting for questions, Matt, I have a giant mug of your picture with the Justin Bieber haircut. I cannot ignore it. Just lighten up the mood a little bit. It literally is like
Thanks,
it's
man.
just like it's a brunette version of Justin Bieber from like 15 years ago.
I'm going to take that as a luscious compliment.
You should. If you got it, flaunt it, right? So
They can't hear through my screen share. I wonder how I get that working.
Let's see. Hello.
If I unmute.
I hear it in the screen share.
Oh, can you? Can hear them too. Can't hear you. Okay, can you hear me now, everybody? Okay, so I just had to unmute. I'll just mute my mic when I'm about to cough. Okay. So they could hear you guys, but they couldn't hear me because I was muted through Discord.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I think we got to figure it out, though. I was able to hear you.
Cool. Do you want to start by introducing yourselves and the team and how long you've been building for?
Yeah, great. First thing first, it's always important to acknowledge the people who are willing to give you their time and listen. So, brief introduction about myself. I'm Z, one of the co-founders of 1Wallet. This project, hopefully, given that the context that many of you in the audience have participated in the Harmony kind of a ecosystem that maybe our name, the name of the project has come across. So I, just like many of you, have been involved in this community for roughly around 5+ years. I was the first one to really got excited about the core technology Harmony and really work with the founders, Stephen, RJ, and some of the other founders to take their first trip back to Asia back in 2018 for their ICOs. So been kind of growing with the community, doing all the ups, and let's also address the elephant in the room, all the downs, right? In the past
Yeah.
3-4 years, and it's been pretty brutal. So I think before we talk about all the things that we've been developing, I think it's good to acknowledge some of the struggles in the past, especially since the bridge hack, and also the down market certainly didn't help, right? So but it's always kind of the being I guess being out here in sunny California, like we're glistening in the sun right now. I'm so very optimistic that whatever the difficulties facing the network, there's always a way out, right? The network, the bridge. I know the core teams are working on it, and there's also other viable, layer one and layer two solutions out there that may provide the necessary salvation, right? That some of you are looking for. So I think it's important to acknowledge that. Now back to the kind of the matter at hand, right? Just a little bit about myself and the team. We are a kind of a average, very typical Silicon Valley based startups. Many of us been in the tech industry for about 15 years. I came out here in 2006 to join a little search company right down Mountain View. So worked on some of the products that many of you may be familiar with, like Chrome browser, Android, and I have to say this, Google Glass. I was part of that team as well. So spent about close to 10 years working on these large scale platforms.
Yeah,
And
Ben,
what
that's a
I'm
heavy resume.
yeah. Well, it was a fun journey, right? And certainly kind of had a first the first hand experience in terms of how tech has really changed the people, not just the user, but the people who are working on it, right? So, like many of you, I decided to participate in the world of blockchain and crypto in 2015 when I left Google, right after almost 10 years. And what gets me excited, and I kind of really start leading into why we're participating, building this kind of a social wallet, right, for the past 7 months now. It's partially is because I think software certainly has been eating the world, right? That's kind of the famous term from Mark Andreessen. But one thing I think we all have to acknowledge is that software, while it's actually solving some of the distribution problems, it also kind of left many people hungry, right? In the sense that it hasn't really shared a lot of the value creation for many people, right? And then it's actually stifling some of the kind of the thing that got me excited about computer science back when I was like in middle school, which is the ability to not only create wealth but also distribute wealth, right, at a kind of massive scale. And in so many ways, the DeFi games that you guys are participating, right? The some of the DeFi protocols we're supporting, some of the NFT projects, including the GOAT. He has some very interesting projects, NFT music projects that are actually bubbling. These are kind of things that are always exciting. They're kind of always on the fringe. They're not necessarily dead in the center of like what's popular in the zeitgeist of the industry. But the things that are on the outside of the fringe is always more exciting because it kind of offers new possibilities, right? So it is with that mindset, the kind of dissatisfaction with some of the bigger technology, being the kind of in the middle of working on that for about 10 years, and also being excited about this kind of the new up and coming technology. That's one of the reasons why we got deeper and deeper involved in building this project. So officially, we started research middle of last year, around March 2021, right in the middle of the NFT blitz, kind of the start of all these different projects. And through some research, through a lot of the internal discussions, and really kind of deeper dive into the world of non-custodial wallets, fundamentally, I realized if we're going to try to get the next, let's say 10, 20, 40, 50, 100 million users into Web3, we have to solve the wallet problem. And so with that being our kind of a strategy, we decided to participate in some hackathons. And that's what we did late last year. And we did multiple hackathons, and we also presented at the day one event in San Francisco, hosted by Harmony. And we made our initial announcement. And then Denver this year, that's kind of when we went public, kind of gave some early public demos. And that's also kind of the main thing I want to really showcase to you guys today, which is the demos that we've been building, the product that we're about to launch in about a month or so. um, and the team is, I mean, we're all been kind of working, nights and weekends to kind of get this thing ready. So we're very excited to give you guys a demo, and hopefully, not only just tell you what we're building, but really listening to feedback and understanding what we can do better to better serve, potential users out there. So that's kind of where we are. And then, rather than kind of just talk about some of the high level ideas and philosophies, maybe what might be helpful is, maybe do some Q&A, and then maybe give you guys a product demo and product walkthrough.
Yeah, sorry. That was a very detailed answer. Thank you. Actually, I think that answered a lot of the questions that we have already. The thing that our community want to know the most is, first of all, why Harmony, which I think you've already really answered. Um, and is it EVM compatible? Will you have other chains available?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question, and I think you're probably worthwhile to dive a little bit deeper. So for Harmony, and again, I'll kind of start from the more the factual, more technological. Again, being an engineer, I think I'm always asked about the performance of the technology, right? So 2018, that was kind of really the height of ICOs, and there was a looming challenge about scalability, performance, right? And Harmony was one of the first one to really set tone on the idea of sharding to increase performance. And so I was very excited about that, kind of the promise of a massive scalability, lower gas fees, right? And then in 2018, when they kind of started development, it happened to be EVM compatible, and that was really helpful as well to make sure that it's not only good for one chain, but it's also compatible across all the Ethereum based consensus protocols, right? So that was kind of the main reason. It wasn't just because I knew the founders; it was because there was a kernel of truth from a computer science perspective. And then in terms of EVM compatibility, I think that's a really good question. And it's also very opportune timing because about 3 months ago, we decided to also go across multiple layer ones and layer two, right? Not only supporting Harmony, but also supporting Polygon, supporting Binance Smart Chain, supporting Avalanche, Chronos, and the list goes on and on and on, right? Because the ultimate goal, and I'll kind of end with this kind of like high level abstraction, right? I think if all of us are collectively working together, the ultimate goal is to create a world of blockchain and Web3 that's chain agnostic, not multi-chain. That's kind of where we are today. The demo that I'm about to show you shows multiple networks that we support, not about cross-chain through bridges, but really to be chain agnostic. And the simple analogy, the mental image I want to present is, imagine if you're holding your iPhone and making a phone call, right? Chances are you don't want to know that whether you're on AT&T or NTT Docomo or Vodafone. You just want to make phone calls. You don't want to know your cell phone switching from one carrier network to another. That's the world that we need to all embrace, and do some of the product development and do the larger collaboration across all the layer ones and layer twos. Hopefully we can get there. And even with inclusion layer 0, which has been talked about quite extensively for the past 14 months.
So would you say your product is heavily going towards usability for the consumer as opposed to some of the other wallets out there?
Yeah, that's a really good. I think that's even more poignant and more necessary question, right? The fundamental mission for all Web3 participant, including the players, including community builders, the gamers, right, the game developers, and us, right, is to really focus on Web3. To how do we accelerate Web3 adoption? Because I mean, there's enough riches to go around, but the reality is also this, right? Globally, there are about 300 million active wallet addresses, and and it's probably less than 100 million real people behind these wallet addresses, right? That's still a small fraction of the 4.6 billion people who are connected to the internet today, right? It's literally a fraction of a fraction, right? So I think we have this kind of a larger kind of a idea, which is whatever we do is really to help accelerate this adoption curve, right? And I actually do enjoy some of the earlier discussions that Elon had about 12 years ago about accelerating adoption of green energy, and I think to some degree he's done that, right? He open sourced many of his development the Tesla network, the patents are all kind of open to the public, and I think that's kind of the thing that will do wonder for the general kind of the industry as a whole, right? So yes.
Yeah. If we want to see mainstream adoption, then we need to have ways for them to come in without being gated by the things that make Web3 a lot harder for them to join us. Somebody asked, is this like Discord and MetaMask had a baby?
That's a really whoever said that. Maybe we can borrow you for our maybe in our future marketing discussions or would love to maybe pick your brain. Someone's very sharp and witty. I think definitely that it surprisingly, maybe not surprising to you. It took us probably about good 3-4 months to really kind of realize that maybe that's how we should position ourselves, right? And the reason why I say that is such a good kind of an observation is that in so many ways, like many of the Web3 communities are built on top of Twitter, Discord, right, and the various different tools and platforms that were originally designed for Web2, right? And nothing against Discord, I think it's a great product. I still use it on a regular basis, but it's not really indigenous for many of the things that we need to do in Web3, right? I mean, for the simple starter, it's not a wallet, so therefore it cannot really help you store, buy, transfer, and do any kind of token exchange, right? And that's something that I think we see that as kind of a opportunity, right, for us to address. So that's exactly how we're positioning a good portion of our kind of a core strategy, which is how do we have a wallet to wallet based communication layer, right? So all of your conversations, all of your token exchanges can be done natively in your wallet, as opposed to using 4 or 5 different tools to cobble together, right? And that creates a lot of user friction. But it's a really good observation. Hopefully we'll get a chance to pick that person's brain.
I'll let her know to ping you. Somebody asked, this is quite a long. Alice had to ask a whole paragraph, so I'll just read the whole thing out. I like the concept. It seems very convenient to have everything in one app, although the biggest concern I have is more so directed towards people that are new to blockchain. Although a rather small issue I see is the messenger. It allows bad actors to cull out wallets to find people with funds worth going after. Also, it allows them to curate scripts that makes the wallet holder think the scammers is blah blah from project blah that the victim is holding. What's the plan to possibly save green investors?
Yeah, I think that's a. So I'll first acknowledge I don't have the full, kind of all the answers and solutions, right? I think sometimes, the older you get, you become, you get sometimes we all have a tendency to get too confident, especially people in Silicon Valley, right? We think we have all the answers just because we know the code. So first thing first, I don't think we have all the answers, but what I can say is this, right? There are things that we're doing to hopefully continue to do a better job from a wallet perspective to safeguard your assets, right? So I'll give you some of the things that we're working on, and maybe hopefully there's something that we're planning to do, and maybe with some additional feedback as we continue to develop product, we'll get better. Number one, which is in terms of the phishing attacks, right? These different things, we do enable things like biometric FIDO, right? Using the secure enclave to safeguard your private keys. So it's harder to kind of really just steal someone's private key directly from their let's say you put on your file vault or on a piece of paper, right? The ability for us to use Magic Link, and then also with MPC, multi-party computation, that means you can also back up your private keys across multiple devices and multiple accounts that are not necessarily in your custody. So that way, again, in case one of your account get compromised, you won't lose all of your funds, right? And then we do have this notion like, a client-based progressive security. And what that means is just, for example, let's say you have, $2,000 in your wallet, right? And your normal spending pattern is that you don't foresee any transaction going out on a daily basis more than 500. Then we actually have a certain additional layer of security guard. For example, anything over 500 will require a text message authentication, right? Just kind of do ever so slightly slow you down a little bit, right? To make sure that you're not falling into victim of like some kind of a scam attacks, right?
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, so there are multiple things that we're doing to not necessarily completely eliminate, but to really slow it down, right? And by the way, if this doesn't come out being incredibly insightful, is because I think many of the security apparatus we can borrow from Web 2, right? If you're in the US,
I
you use
agree.
Bank of America. You use Bank America, right? You cannot just go into Bank America and withdraw $100,000 of your account, because guess what? That your banker will call you and say, "Hey, you need to come to the local office to make sure that you're not sending the transaction under duress, or you made a transaction by accident." So there are a lot of things that we're doing to really, I'm not a maximalist in terms of like everything Web 2 sucks, everything with traditional finance
Yeah.
sucks. Like we don't that. I think there are a lot of good things that for more than a century now, right? They develop a set of systems to safeguard your assets. And I'm unashamed to say that we are borrowing many of these techniques from Bank of America, from Wells Fargo, from Goldman Sachs, from Visa and MasterCard, right? And some of the things I just said, you can see that in our product already. So it's not just
Yeah.
like,
If
well,
it
yeah,
works, then why come up with something? Yeah. Why reinvent the wheel?
exactly.
We agree. Web 2 and Web 3 coming together is a better future for Web 3 than just trying to do everything new. Um, Qatar asked if there's plans to be compatible with cold wallets like Ledger.
Really good question. Just had a morning engineering meeting. So originally, the ability for you to back up your private key or interoperate with a, let's say, Ledger wallet or cold storage wallet, that was a P3, which means we were potentially going to develop in Q2 of next year. This morning's engineering discussion, we decided to move that into a P2, which means that early Q1 we're going to start development and maybe have it ready by Q1. And then just from on the technical side, by the way, guys, it's actually relatively straightforward to have that integration. But what we're trying to do is basically how to actually enable a more seamless connection, especially nowadays. We can actually use some of the modern techniques, like for example, Apple just decided to support FIDO. So there are things we can actually do to make that user experience a little bit less frictionless, or just make it more frictionless, right? In terms of the integration with a cold storage wallet. So the short answer is yes, and we're pulling the schedule earlier into the development cycle, as opposed to having it ready by end of Q2. We're looking at end of Q1.
Perfect. Um, when we're looking at this in a storefront perspective, are we looking to say it's at the uh, CEX works with GameFi Web3 access? Generally, we have sub wallets on a central exchange with open availability. But when you get into actually using the wallets, that the centralized exchange has to use its difficulty uh, increases 10 times for new users.
Yeah, I'll kind of re-summarize this question, right? So I understand the sentiment where many of the games, especially we're working with Binance, right? Many of the games in terms of the exchange of tokens, the many of the things that you need to do in a game, right, is actually heavily reliant on centralized exchanges, right? Including the fiat to token on ramp, right? That's something that it has really slowed down a lot of the the gaming projects, right? Because the moment you need to convert new users into download a wallet and get tokens, you lose a good percentage of the users, right? So what we're doing from a wallet perspective is this, right? We're unapologetically non-custodial. That's one thing that we're not going to compromise, right? There is no ifs and buts about it. But what we are doing is basically, if you were to acquire tokens, if you were to do many of these things, you don't necessarily have to go through a centralized exchange, right? We have native support, we have Wallet Connect, right? We have easy fiat to crypto, on ramp. So again, it's a multi-pronged solution to address, some of the concerns, this question actually did raise.
Um, I think the last question we'll take is actually it's a double prong. What's special about 1Wallet that makes me want to use it? And that's from Ragnarloth. But from me, what's special about 1Wallet that I should use it as a project leader over any other wallet?
Yeah. So again, this is actually is a perfect setup. So again, appreciate the guy who asked this question, especially for the demo session, right? So I'll break it down to two parts, and just like the way the question position, right? Our core target customers for 1Wallet, we design it in mind for Web3 builders. So Shane, you're kind of really our kind of like the ideal customer in the sense that you have your own project, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because we have developed within 1Wallet. What makes us special is we have developed a set of tools and services to make your life a little bit easier. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you were to, let's say, make an announcement about some, events, or uh, do a poll in terms like a polling, see what game feature needs to be developed, right? Or do a token airdrop. These are all the things you can do directly, natively within a wallet,
Oh,
right?
that's
So no
really
longer,
nice.
yeah, so you no longer have to say, hey, guys, come to our Discord. Here's a Google form. Submit your wallet address so we can actually whitelist you for the airdrop. And then you have to go to Google spreadsheet to, export it to a CSV
Yeah.
and import it to some other. Like that sounds very familiar to you, right? Like that
Yep,
seems ridiculous,
for
right?
sure.
No, like because then you're going to lose probably 90% of your potential users, because guess what, they're on Discord now. They're going to have to open their wallet, copy and paste that address, paste it into Discord in that survey form. No, like that's ridiculous. Just
We
create a
saw
Google.
that happen with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Flo, but his project Sandsound, they had the wallet, the sign up registration for weeks before their whitelist, and half the people that had the Discord role hadn't registered for the whitelist, and then there's just streams of people angry because they hadn't registered. So yeah, see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the rule of thumb is that anytime you ask someone to click on a link, you're going to lose about 90%. That's a scary metric, right? Every link that you have to add, every additional service or tools you have to use to put together, to cobble together, you're going to lose 90% of people, because the click through
Yeah.
rate is always lower than 10%, right? That's just a general rule of thumbs. So we have done, hopefully the necessary work to make your life easier. That's kind of like, by enabling Web3 builders to build their amazing projects, that's actually helpful, right? So in some way, I'm self-serving, right? I'm saying, hey, the better your life is, Shane, the better my life will be, right? Because that's how, when you're giving, you usually receive back, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first set of things that we're trying to accomplish, right? Making Web3 building a little bit easier, right? On the other side of the question, which is like, well, for example, for the many of the people in the audience today, they're just a participant in the gameplay. Why would they want to use this wallet, right? Well, the answer is, well, number one, if you want to talk to people who are playing the game with you, therefore, why not just have a private chat channels, right? That you can actually easily talk about, your gaming strategy, right, or your general experience, or just quite frankly, just share some of the your status, right? Because you clearly there's
Yeah, a
something
lot of
that's
people are looking for alternatives to Discord these days. Yeah.
exactly, right. So that's something that I think is really helpful, right? And then as kind of the gaming the gamers themselves, right? They can themselves create a private chat channel and raise fund, right? Say, hey, you were one of the most popular gaming guild for this particular game. Then guess what? They can do a lot of additional things now, right? Without kind of having to use other tools. And then the added benefits like easier fiat on ramp. It has integrated DEX. It has integrated, we're using, swap aggregators. If you do want to swap tokens, it's cheaper, right? And let's say, the game itself is now either on Avalanche or Chronos or multiple chains. Guess what? We support multiple EVM networks. So it's all become seamless and fluid, right?
Perfect.
So on the builder side and on the kind of the actual individual member side of these projects, hopefully we can do a really good job to overserve every one of the users, right? And then that is a win for everyone, right? So that's a
You've
long-winded
sold
answer.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any other questions from the community? I see we've got Kathy in here now. Kathy, Z said he wants to pick your brain. He really loved your question.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kathy. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, you can find me on, on Twitter, yozi.eth. That's my Twitter handle address. And or just reach out z@onewallet.xyz. Kathy, great question, and would love to. Seems like marketing or messaging pretty well, so would love to pick your brain further. Yeah.
Okay. Should we go into the demo?
Yeah, I'd love to. Love to.
Cool.
All right. So let me go ahead and fire it up. Can you see the iPhone screen? Okay, the UI.
Sorry, no.
Okay, let me try that again. Share screen. Window. Movie recording. Share. you guys able to see the screen or no? Still negative.
Still no. Hang on. It might be coming. There it is.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
All right. The Pixel Pigeon arrived a little bit late. All right. So not any particular order, but just let me fly through some of the key features. Again, I'm not going to bore you with every nitty gritty feature because it is quite extensive. So first thing first, like I said, we talk about multi-chain quite extensively, and hopefully this is also music to your ears. Yes, our origin story is very similar to many of the people in the audience, part of Harmony, but we also, in this particular build, we support multiple networks, right? Harmony, Polygon, and Binance Smart Chain. Okay, so multi-chain, check. The second thing, what I talked about, which is the easier fiat on ramp, right? Let's say you just want to get top up very quickly with some tokens, right, to buy additional, in-game NFTs or in-game tokens. You can do that directly, by using your Apple Pay or any other credit cards, right? So you no longer have to go to a centralized exchange like Coinbase, right? And then kind of along the same line, the fluidity, the liquidity of token transfers. We also support swaps. Like on Polygon, we're using the largest swap liquidity pool, quick swap, right, which is the largest liquidity pool. We also support swap aggregators such as 1inch, so you actually you minimize slippage. These are all integrated, so you don't have to use a different set of tools for these token
It's
swaps.
really nice,
right? And then let's kind of go into the what I originally said, right? Let's say Shane, let's say today, hypothetically, let's say you want to get to 1 million monthly active players, right? That requires you to acquire way more new users, and let's say many of them don't have a wallet, right? So let's say in your traditional community, you have to convince them to set up a wallet. And what we have done here is to making sure the wallet setup is actually fast and easy, right? So gaming.
While you're doing that, we just had a quick question. Do you allow off-ramp of funds?
Not yet. Not in the spirit of the question. I think the off-ramp, like for example, be able to directly deposit back into your bank account, we don't have that support yet, but we do have the ability, obviously, for you to swap it out to a stable coin, and then you can off-ramp to other exchanges. That's something that's coming down the pipeline. But the off-ramp, the way that we think about it, connect to your Wells Fargo or Bank of America account or Citibank, that requires some additional work, but we're working on it. Yeah. All right. So let me create a new wallet, just kind of showcase how fast and easy it is to create a new wallet. All right. So I'm going to hit create. 1, 2, 3. It should be done by now. Okay. That was half a beat too left.
Very nice.
All right. So a new wallet's created. You notice I did not have to write down a private key on a piece of paper, and unlike most people now, they just cheat to take a screenshot of that private key. Like this is directly deposited. This is directly deposited on your iPhone's secure enclave, right? And then because it's secure on the enclave, we also have the ability now to back it up on Google Authenticator, which is also non-custodial because the 6-digit time code is actually run locally on your device. And then we'll also have the ability, if say you don't want to, what happens if you lose your device, right? You can also back up to a end-to-end encrypted iCloud keychain. So that way, add additional layers of security and safety, right? And one of the questions that people ask was like, what about cold storage wallet? Like I said, that's coming down a pipeline, so you can actually export this directly to other other external wallets out there. And then Wallet Connect, is obviously built in natively. So for any GameFi projects, you can just connect to your existing project, right? And then the listed feature, I'm not gonna, like I said, there's literally hundreds of features, but that's one thing regarding safety and security. All right, so let's dive in one little bit deeper, right? In terms of how do we actually customize this wallet to make it more kind of shine, right? So one of the things that we talk about is social. 1Wallet is meant to be social. So any social setting, you need to have an identity, right? And Shane, this is probably something that would love to work with you a little bit more, which is we do have the ability to work with different partners to customize your avatar. This is one of our partner called DNA3. It's a 3D generated avatar that you can customize with different.
So we can have a night avatar in there.
Exactly.
Nice.
Right, and then you can change the way it looks, right? You can change the outfit, and these outfits, by the way, Shane, right? This could be like your in-game merch. Let's say you have a certain special NFTs or special kind of a badge. You can actually design a T-shirt or kind of a certain swag, or even dress up like a medieval knight or peasant, right? and these themselves are NFT you can purchase as a gamer, right?
That's cool. Yeah.
So let me kind of save this. Let's say I'm happy with this look. I'm going to create a bunch of random gibberish metadata, and now I can mint this as an NFT in itself, right? And while this is minting, I can also share this on existing social network. Let's say I'm a proud player of Knights and Peasants, and I can actually say, hey, this is what my wallet looks like, right? And this is my wallet name, this is my wallet address. You can tweet it out to Twitter or put on Discord so people can reach you in the future, right?
So you can
And
mint that fast and then tweet about it instantly.
exactly, right?
That's
And
really cool. Yeah.
so now this particular avatar just got minted as an NFT on Polygon, right? And we do cover the gas fee for the time being. Probably for the foreseeable future, we'll be covering the gas fee for Polygon, just like we did for Harmony.
Okay,
So this
cool.
NFT is actually created, right? So now is my identity, my on-chain identity for this wallet-to-wallet social network. Okay. So let's kind of showcase what's possible. Now you have this kind of an on-chain identity. I'm gonna switch to my regular account. Oh, I was a little bit too zealous. Let me back to my regular wallet account. So now, I do have this is my identity within this kind of network, and I can actually send Legoat, a message. Yo, yo, yo. So I'm sending a message from my wallet address to Legoat, right? So again, the people in the audience are like, why is this so interesting, Z, right? We can do this on Telegram, on Signal, on Discord, on WeChat, on WhatsApp. Well, the difference is the end-to-end identity for this communication is your wallet address, not your cell phone number, not your email address. So you have full custody of this, right? Because the name of the game is self-sovereignty or non-custodial. So now, you can use your wallet as a kind of a identity in this larger world of Web3, right? And then, let's say, we played a really good game, and I was really grateful for the in-game participation. I can also send Legoat a token now, right? I can send him a token, right? And you see how fast this is? I don't have to copy and paste anyone's wallet address anymore. I can do this directly within the wallet, right? And done, right? I just send Legoat some token. Oh, spoke too fast. Let's see. Let's try this again. Murphy's Law, right?
While you're doing that again, Kathy asked, will this allow you to send a message or offer to an NFT holder? Does it get past the anonymous nature of holders?
So that's a really good question. It is not anonymous. I think that's one of the misnomer of blockchain transaction. If Kathy, if someone knows your wallet address is associated with your real life identity, then it would not be anonymous, right? Because people can go to Etherscan, look it up, right? But for example, if you never publish, the real life identity of this wallet address with you, then it's pseudonymous. Then in that by proxy, then your identity is protected. So hopefully, Kathy, that answers your question, right? Yeah. Right. So now you can see the transaction, the token is actually done, right? And then if I want, yep. And let's say Shane, let's say you within this within 1Wallet, you have you're building your community here. You have a dedicated chat group or channel, right? You have like 10,000 members. Now you can actually also do this, right? And this is one of my favorite features too. You can actually do a massive token drop directly within the wallet. I'm not going to send more tokens to my team members. They're already getting too rich off of these demos, right? Literally, beginning of this week on Monday, I had more than $200, and I've been just doing a lot of demos. So every time I do a demo, I send like $5 or $10.
You're making me rich, JC. Thank you.
I know. So, but this is actually a demonstration. Actually, you know what? For the hell of it, let me send it over. Why not, right? It's only $1.50, right?
So that will rain on everybody, or oh, yep, I see. How many users does it split between?
So the split is actually randomized, on-chain randomization. So let's say you send $500 to a group of like 20 people, right? This is a small contract on-chain, and then people who are picking it up is randomly assigned a certain dollar amount, right? And again, that's the beauty. It's completely transparent. People can see, Shane, you were not playing favoritism to some of your members, right?
Does it pick up on like the last active members
So the people
or
in the
just
channel,
anybody?
anybody, yeah. So there you
Okay.
go. Someone just, yeah. So Gabby, for my team, I mean, he literally, I think that's all he does now. I don't think he does any work. He just waits for me to send for me to send packets. Yeah. All right.
Kathy asked again, the buyer doesn't have to link your real life identity to your wallet, but the app will, right?
The app will, but again, we do not store that linkage. Let's say Kathy, I will not associate. We don't have a central database that is open to our development team. So, so we're almost like blind. It's a black box, right? There is a hash table. I'm getting a little too nerdy here now. There is a hash table on our server that does the reverse lookup, but we as a team do not have access to that hash, so we cannot reverse lookup. Kathy owns this digital wallet, but obviously for the computer to work, there needs to be some kind of a linkage, right? But we would never publish it because we don't have access to it.
Okay.
Cool. So the listen feature goes on and on, and then like some of the other things I mentioned, for example, creating a poll, it's like a polling to determine, what pizza to order for the meetup. You can do that directly within a wallet, right? And this could be a governance voting kind of a small contract as well. So you can do all these activities directly within a wallet, right? Again, I think someone mentioned, this feels like this is an offspring of Discord. You're damn right, right? All the useful features that are available in Telegram on Discord, we're learning from them, right? And we're gonna do it better because it's decentralized, and we're gonna build it directly into the wallet. So that's the way we're going about this. Yep.
So you're demonstrating on phone. Will there be a PC app too, or just the phone app?
PC app, we have something. Not trying to pull Apple here, and not. We are in discussion with the designer, and most likely after Thanksgiving of this year, I might be flying out to Asia to work with our designer team. We have some ambitious goal to add a new twist to a desktop application. So I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Kathy's trying to work out if this solves the ability for both users of 1Wallet to contact each other anonymous, essentially a messenger based off wallet address.
Kathy, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, right? So let's say I never reveal my identity is connected to this wallet address, and you didn't do the same. So it's really two anonymous person talking to each other, right? Because our phone number is not published, right? Your email address is not published, so people cannot reverse look you up or do some kind of a kind of reveal your true identity out in the open, right? So yeah.
Looks like she's typing again.
Okay. Right. Love these
You can
questions.
keep you can keep going while she's typing. Not sure how
All
long
right.
it'll be.
All right.
Oh,
Cool.
hang on. No, it's here. Oh, that's great. I see an NFT I want, and I can send an offer.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you can also send NFTs. Obviously, someone already seen this, right? There is is darked out right now, but there is ability for you to send an NFT. You can even do splitting the bills, right? So there are a lot of things that we're doing that are built into the wallet. Yeah. All right. Cool. So let's go back to this portion. This is the final. I mean, again, I want to bore the audience with like endless feature demos, right? But I think this one is actually
No,
really.
this is really interesting.
Yeah, this one is for you, Shane, right? So let's say your this particular setup is really, we're gonna change the name called Mood Up to community, because this is really a set of tools, Shane, to make your life easier, right? So let's say you're making announcements, right, for your upcoming game. Rocket Monster is one of our partners, right? They're also on Harmony. So they're making an in-game announcement. So now what they can do a post, just like how you would do that on Twitter or on, any other social media platforms. But now you can do this directly, make an announcement directly within the wallet, so other community members can see it, and they may actually get, oh, this game looks cool. I may want to join, right? And you can actually join the kind of their private. Well, this one is actually public. You can join the community, join the chat channel directly from this, right? Or you can say, what, sounds cool. Give the person some thumbs up, right? Or you can share this, right? You can publish it and share it to Twitter and any other resources, right? So it's almost like a content. Yep, go ahead.
So if you share it onto Twitter, does it have a link that pops up to 1Wallet to get people to join up?
Yes. Yes. And Shane, this is kind of how you can actually recruit people now, right? So the moment that people see on, let's say you create this post, right, and you share on Twitter, and people click on it, now they're actually going to download this wallet, and obviously self-serving, it helps us, right? But by doing so, they automatically have an easy to use wallet, and now we're reducing the friction for them to join all these games or various different Web3 projects, right? So that's what I mean by it's a net is a win for everyone, right?
Kathy said a messenger based on wallet address is pretty insane.
Yeah. So we'll appreciate it. Hopefully that's a compliment.
I think it was, but she followed it up with it'd need to be super hack proof.
Yeah, that's 100% agree with that. Yeah. And then, there are some other things that I think might be helpful. Let's say, Shane, you created a dedicated channel, a private channel for the top gamers, right? And you can also gate this with the NFT now, right? So this particular chat channel, I cannot join because, well, Snoop, I need to get one of the Snoops on NFT. So token gated
Okay,
access,
cool.
right? So that's cool,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm gonna kind of quickly fly through some of the features. For example, if it's someone's really good, does a really good job posting all thing related Bored Apes, right? You can actually tip them, right? So you can tip them do
Oh,
fiat,
dang.
or you can tip them do right? You can tip them do tokens, right? So these are things that we're again just trying to make the whole value creation and value distribution way less frictionless, right? Way less friction, right? So, and then by the way, I always kind of mention this, right? We're also actively working with some of the larger partners, such as 88 Rising. They're a music label, and the idea here is they can actually directly sell concert tickets directly
Nice.
within 1Wallet, right? Or merchandise, right? It doesn't have to be digital things. So because let's say your game has a special kind of a T-shirt that you want to sell, right? You can actually sell it directly here. And let me show you what I mean by that, right? Let me show you how to create one of these posts. And this is how easy it is, right? You just drag and drop, say, hey, I want to create let's say, either NFT drop or NFT raffle, right? So I'm going to do an NFT raffle. I'm going to do, 888, raffle, make it random, people who can win, set a date. And I can even request physical shipping address. So let's say you won this NFT raffle, but you also want to ship them one of the T-shirts. Let's say this NFT is $100, right? For this NFT, you also get a T-shirt or a hat or some kind of a memorabilia and physical merchandise. You can also request physical shipping address. So again, Shane, this is what I mean by making your life easier. You don't have to ask like, okay, you won the raffle. Here's your wallet address. Here's a drop. Let me send it to you. And by the way, do you mind sending me your mailing address, right? So I can send you some goodies. You can do that in one seamless user interface, right? So, and then let's say you can create a calendar event for your upcoming let's say a gaming battle or some kind of a gaming announcement. You can do that directly within the wallet. You can just create a almost like an Eventbrite calendar event, remind all the members, and share that directly with the chat channel. So these are things that again, we want to make it easier for every member for every Web3 builders to kind of just do their job, as opposed to have to learn a new set of tools, right? The listing feature goes on and on, so I'm going to stop there without in the interest of not boring, making it too boring for everyone in the audience.
I don't think anybody's thought this is a lot. This is really cool. Thank you for sharing it with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is insane.
Yeah. And so yeah, love to again, the goal for this conversation, and I do want to make a bi-directional conversation. I would love to get feedback. What are the things that we're not doing? It's not good enough for you to really consider us, right? What are the features that are missing, and what can we do to really convince you to at least earn your trust and earn, maybe 5 minutes of your time to at least install the app, when we're public, and give it a try, right? So those are things that I would love to get more feedback. So feel free to, reach out or, or just, ping us directly on Twitter, right? We want to be more open about our development cycle so we can get better feedback going forward.
Do you have time for a couple more quick questions?
Yes.
Because Kathy's got more.
Yeah.
She's there with the good ones. Is it easy to remove permissions?
And oh, that's that's pretty open-ended question. When you say permission, in what context?
While she's typing, does OneWallet hide the address from the giveaway and allow auto shipping? Also, is there the ability to include more chains?
Yeah. So the more chain one, I think I'll take that. Surprisingly, that's the easier question. Yes, from a development engineering perspective, we can enable all EVM chains in a matter of weeks. Meaning, like, of all the EVM chains out there, we can enable it in it. Let's say by end of October, right? So that's definitely possible, right? It's more of a just we want to be focused. We want to make sure we're thoroughly testing every single implementation.
Yeah.
In terms of the kind of a double blind kind of a shipping, like, well, if I want to get your goodies, right, and I don't want to reveal my address, I can mentally work out the logic. But I think some of the stuff, obviously, the devil's in the detail. I don't have a implementational design yet, right? Because the moment you're accepting shipping, you obviously need to go to post office, right? So that someone needs,
Customs, etc.
right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
right. So that, Kathy, like, there might be some kind of a third party escrow service that can actually enable that, but right now, like, we have not spent enough energy, so I don't want to give any kind of a non-concrete or false information. So, but if there's an
That
important feature, yeah, we'll definitely
that
think
one
about
was
it.
from Maliance. But Kathy, in reply to your question, she said, "Does it remove permissions for access to NFTs, tokens, etc.?"
Yeah, so that's something that we do have the ability to do so, right? And then there's actually, believe it or not, there's actually a kind of almost like a behind the scene, almost like a master dashboard that enable certain administrative, almost like a super user level access to revoke permissions and stuff. But that's something that to be transparent, we only started this discussion maybe about a week and a half ago, so we have not translated these ideas into production code yet, right? It's still in the design phase. Yeah.
I think we've got one last question from Maliance, who is just typing. Type fast.
Don't worry. In the meantime, I'm just looking at Lego's awesome, amazing Justin Bieber hairstyle. you know.
Something that is extremely something that's extremely time consuming, that is a big issue in GameFi. Do we have a way to auto accept transactions in OneWallet, or is each transaction still going to be individually approved?
Ooh, that's a double-edged sword. Ooh, who asked this? Is a good question.
It's Maliance.
Okay. If you don't mind, send us a private ping. Reach out to us on 1wallet.xyz on Twitter. I would love to dive a little bit deeper. I know exactly the pain point you're talking about, because on my MetaMask I get a shit load of notifications, right, for approval as well. I'm gonna dodge this one. I know the answer. I know the answer that you're expecting, but there are practical security issues, and then I'll leave it at that. It's not dodging for sake of dodging, right? For example, for many of the Apple or Windows users, right, Mac and Windows users, right, you know how like Apple always bug you about like enter your password to approve certain settings, right? They can theoretically just automate that and say, you know what, just approve it. But that obviously opens up a whole can of, it's not a can of whip warm. It's literally a can of whip ass, right? Because if you don't implement that right, you actually are going to open up an attack vector that's not intentional, right?
They said
So
they'll absolutely be in touch on Twitter.
yeah, so let's keep the conversation going. And then again, Legault, Shane, really, really appreciate you hosting this, and I would love to do this again. In maybe in about a month or so when we're public, and hopefully we'll have more. Hopefully we'll have more goodies that will continue to not necessarily just impress you, but really to earn your trust to really give our product a try, right? So maybe about 3-4 weeks, we should maybe do another session.
Yeah, and I think the rest of my team would like to have a demo too, so I'll ping Ligo about that too.
Yeah, Legault, let's do a Zoom
definitely.
session. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely let me know, and I'll make sure that they get on. I know Shan is an Android user, so Z, she's she's on the forefront of testing there, and maybe Shan, we can have someone else from the team who has an iPhone be able to test that as well, and kind of let us know some of these pain points and anything we're missing.
Yeah, I'll ask them what they've got.
My DMs.
Yep. Shane, don't worry. I did spend 6 years working on Android, so I got you.
Okay, you got me.
All right. Well, really appreciate
Sorry
everyone.
about
No worries. Really appreciate everyone's time, and then looking forward to the outpouring of feedback and support. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Take
Thanks
care,
for
guys.
coming.
Bye. Yeah, we'll do. Bye.
Later, Z. All right, Shan, we're gonna take it right into the radio and start transitioning over to the DJ set, but that went
Cool.
fantastically.
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you. I will hang up on Discord here and go into the 1Wallet server and start screen sharing there.
All right, sounds
and
perfect.
drop the 1Wallet. So everybody, we're gonna go raid the 1Wallet Discord now for some giveaways. I'll drop the link in general.
Perfect.
Okay, go there.
Journey in the background. He might have switched it over already, even. So I gotta check the stream. But
okay, sweet. So I'm leaving this one up, right, and just screen sharing on the other server.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sweet. I'll see you there.
Yep. Like.
Into a new life, a life of hope, of burning motivation, of dreams that one day, thanks to faith and perseverance, will take shape.
It is through this power that all things come into being, whether in the physical world or in the world of men. Thus, God acts through the creative power and constantly making and remaking the physical universe. All of existence has its beginning in this creative power. Which in time manifests itself in the physical world. Man achieves success by aligning himself with this creative power. And allowing it to act through him with its attributes of persistence, endurance, and progress in doing what is in accord with the universe, that is, in doing what is right.